Hello, hello, hello. All right. I think we're live. Some technical issues going on, but anyways, we're here nonetheless. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow. Are we at the point? Are we on the edge of World War III? I think we just might be. All right, so I'm gonna let a couple people get in here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Even if you're watching this on a replay, please bless me by hitting the thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. You know, I was kind of sitting on the fence, just to be honest with you, if I want to even talk about this story. I was kind of sitting on the fence about it. And the reason being is because there's a clear difference, or there's a clear separation, or there's a clear division, is what I'm trying to say here. There's a clear divide between people supporting Israel and people not supporting Israel. And then there's one where people do support Israel, but they don't support Israel right now. There's a clear opening about all of that. And what do I mean? And there's a video. I don't know if I even have that video, but there's a video with Tucker Carlson, and he's actually making comments about Israel. And I didn't even realize that he was so anti-Israel. I had no idea that Tucker Carlson was so anti-Israel. But that goes to show, like, Candace Owens, she's anti-Israel. And these people, I consider them to be highly intelligent. I mean, they really are. I mean, it's not even if I consider it or not. They really are. Which I don't understand why they don't see that liberalism is a problem even in Israel. See, they're blaming everything. I mean, they blame everything. They've been blaming a lot on the Jewish people. They're blaming a lot on Israel. A lot of the stuff that they're not happy with. Now, I'm not sure the reason why Tucker Carlson went down this path, but Candace Owens, she was with PragerU. Maybe that has something to do with it. She was with Daily Wire. Maybe that has something to do with it. And a lot of those, organizations have a lot of Jewish people in them. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I'm speculating here. But there's a truly a turn of events that are taking place about how people in this country are viewing Jewish people. And it's almost like they're siding with the bad people in the 1940s Germany. Now, look, this conflict that's happening right now in Israel, this conflict that's happening right now is not something that everyone should be, oh my goodness, we need to just walk away from Israel, allow them to handle all of their own business. Then again, maybe we should. Me personally, I think we should stand with Israel and not necessarily jump into this conflict with them. And see, that's where the problem comes in. People are saying that we shouldn't jump into the conflict, but I think we're going to be thrown into the conflict regardless if we want to jump into it or not. There was a poll that Charlie Kirk put on X asking, should the United States of America get on the offensive when it comes to this conflict with Israel and Iran? And he put yes or no. And overwhelmingly, people said, no, we should not get on the offensive when it comes to this conflict between Israel and Iran. And to an extent, I agree with that, right? Israel should be able to handle it. Israel, just do what you got to do. We don't have to get on the offensive to get involved for, to take it to the next level. I get that. And I don't even disagree with that. The problem that comes into play is that a lot of people think that we'll just sit on the sideline while Israel is getting bombarded as well. And see, the thing is, Iran, they're attacking Israel. And then what's happening is that other nations, and they're not really even getting into all of the details about it. All of these other nations in the Middle East that hate Israel, they're getting involved too. They've already been involved. It's not like, oh, look, Iran is going, let's go join them. You still have all of these other nations that have been working overtime to try to eliminate Israel in the first place. And now that Iran is all in the mix, they're saying, let's join in, let's really go. Israel is getting hit extremely hard. And some reports are saying that Israel has never been hit this hard militarily. Some of the reports saying this. Now, a lot of people think that the conflict could lead into World War III. And what I was getting to a second ago, even though the United States of America is not getting in the, on the forefront of all of this and getting directly involved in the conflict, let me put it like this. Let's say the United States of America completely stays out of it. Let's say the United States of America never shoots a rocket, a bullet, nothing. Right? Not a single one. Do you think for 1 second that with them attacking all of these other nations, attacking Israel, do you think for 1 second in their minds that we're not involved? Come on, think about this really quick. Do you think that about every time they look at Israel, they look at the United States of America? People can deny it all day long, and you can go out there and you can tell people, say, you know what, we're not involved. We're not paying attention to it. We're not going to get in. We're not going to do anything. But do you think that they're seeing it the way we are saying it even? They're not. They're not. And I'm not saying this because I think we should get involved in the conflict. I just said that we should not get involved in the conflict. I just said it. See, what it is just like, great example. The No King's Day. And I was looking at a video with my producer, and I forget who was saying it. And, President Trump put out the statement basically talking about no kings, he said, thank you so much for going out there protesting for no kings. Well, just like this conflict overseas, the Democrats do things similar here, the liberals here in America. To give an example with the no kings is that they know that there's no kings. They know that President Trump is the president of the United States of America. President Trump is not the king of America, but he's the president. They already know this. So what do? They make it up. They make up the lie that President Trump is trying to be a president, knowing good and well that he's not, but they make it up to justify a reason for them to go out and act like little tyrant children. See, they make up the lies and they believe it themselves so they can do certain things, so they can go out and be violent. They give themselves a reason. Point in case, same thing overseas. They see that the United States of America is even saying that we're not going to get involved in conflict, but Israel is an ally to us. We will give them aid, just like their allies will give each other aid. Okay, that's understandable. No one is arguing that. Except for here in America, we got some liberals and even some radical, I'm going to go ahead and say radical extremist people that call themselves on the right. Or even actually saying that they should just eliminate Israel altogether. They're joining sides with AOC. They're joining sides with Ilhan Omar. So if you ever want to go like, well, we should just eliminate Israel, you are just like Rashida Tlaib. You're joining sides with her. So for you to sit there and say that you are not in line with these radical leftist liberals, you're lying to yourself if you're saying that. Because they want Israel just completely eliminated. I've actually had a conversation with one particular person. I'm not going to say his name. And he's a Trump supporter, or at least he was a Trump supporter until he realized that Trump wasn't going to allow Israel to be eliminated. And Trump is not going to allow it to happen here either. He's not going to allow it to happen here either. But they're really working on it. They're really trying to they want to apply pressure to President Trump for him to just completely back away and then allow all of these other nations around Israel to just eliminate Israel altogether.
And can I say something, Will?
Sure.
A lot of people are saying, well, why doesn't Israel want peace? Well, you need to understand that Iran has literally been the reason why there's been instability in the Middle East. They're behind Hamas.
Yep.
They're behind the Houthis.
Hezbollah.
They're behind all of these terrorist organizations. Their main goal is to eliminate Israel. 100%. One reason why they've gone nuclear is because they want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Now, how do you negotiate with that person that has literally inflicted so much pain on your country? October 7th was not just because of Hamas, it was because of Iran. They influence, pay, and give these people money to do what they need to do to wreak havoc on Israel.
Yeah.
And Israel is to a point where they have to stop it. If they don't stop it, then what they do, all their movements to close in and eliminate Israel and take over, it will happen if he doesn't do something. We now know that they have had nuclear capabilities. We're seeing it now that that this has happened, and everyone, even China, even Russia, they all agree because of the instability of Iran, they cannot have a nuclear weapon. They can't have one. So what do? We've tried to negotiate with them, and Trump's been awfully nice, if you ask me. Because every time they kind of play in with Trump, right? They kind of say, well, we're going to negotiate. But then they just turn around and then they say, well, we're not going to stop. So what do? At this point, who is perpetrating what is happening? It's not Israel. It's not America. It's 100% Iran.
Well, let me ask you this. And this is something that I've been asking a lot of people ever since for a long time. And I use a lame analogy. It is a lame analogy. I'll admit it. And it's like your neighbors, because they are neighbors. You know what I mean? There's some great distance, but they're neighbors, right? And sometimes there's countries in between, but they're considered neighbors. Like, I'm in my studio, but there's buildings next to me. And then the buildings that are down, they're still considered neighbors, right? They're still considered neighbors. So if you have neighbors that are a block away and they're lobbing stuff over the other neighbors to hit your home or hit your home, for example, and you know that it's the neighbors a block away or half a block away, quarter of a block away, doesn't matter. You know who's doing it. Or you know that neighbor over there is getting the neighbors that are closer to you to lob stuff at your home, rocks, whatever they can. And you know who's behind it. It's really elementary. But some people don't, they seem to like disregard all of this. So what they end up doing is like they know it is them, but they have to directly attend to these people that are directly throwing stuff at your home, right? You know it's a neighbor across the street, right next to you, right here, but they're all getting the resources and all the stuff to throw at you from the neighbor down there. Well, the neighbor down there is working on something that will just completely take out your home, just level it. And you know that they're doing it. Materials are showing up. They're doing it. They've already acknowledged that they're doing it. They told the world that they're getting ready to do it. As soon as they can, they're going to do it. They're telling the entire world this is what they're going to do. While at the same time, the other ones are just occupying you. They're keeping you occupied, trying so you don't pay attention. That's what their objective is. So then guess what happens? You say, okay, there's nothing else I can do. I'm going to have to take up this location. They're becoming too aggressive. It's becoming too much for me to get all these other homes around me to stop doing what they're doing. I'm going to have to get that neighbor down there to stop doing it ultimately. Does that make sense, Shannon? Does that make sense? Or is it just too lame? Is it too lame? Is it too, am I, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Does anyone understand that? This is exactly what it is. Now we should not have to, and then put it like this: you have others in a different neighborhood that actually like you. They come to your Christmas parties, they come to your birthday parties, they come to all of that, and they're willing to help you defend your home. But all these other homes around you, and the big one down the house is really trying to take you out because they want your home. They want you to move out. The other one that's been helping you, they seen that they've been helping you. So they're going to take it out on them as well, as soon as they can. Now, I don't want any of this to happen in our country, people. I really don't. I don't like conflict. I like debate. That's why I don't mind going out talking to these radical liberals. I like the debate. I like to have the open discussion. And I like exposing. I mean, I like exposing the evilness in this world so people can actually see what's happening in this world. And they happen to make it really easy. That's why when I was out, for example, at the No Kings, this radical dude was following me around. He was following me around because he doesn't want people to see how evil that they truly are. And he doesn't want me to expose them. So Satan is using him to try to shut me down. And all it does is elevate what they're all about. It just takes it to the next level. But this conflict that's happening in the Middle East, I don't even know what to say of it. Other than, could it possibly be that we're going to see devastation like we've never seen before? And see, the powers that be, I believe that they want it to happen for multiple reasons. But one of the main reasons why I believe they want it to happen, because have you ever heard of the League of Nations? Have you ever heard of the League of Nations, Shannon? Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of it.
So do you know why the League of Nations was created? This is my understanding of it from the information that I came across. The League of Nations was created after World War I. And the objective of the League of Nations, and a lot of people know exactly what this is, what I'm talking about, but for those of you that don't know, the objective of the League of Nations after World War I was to bring the world together to prevent wars on the planet, to prevent another world war. Well, not every single country got involved with the League of Nations. They're like, nope, that's not something we want to be part of. And then World War II came and it happened. And then after World War II, do you know what was created after World War II, Shannon? No? Maybe? The United Nations. First, they created the League of Nations. Then they get all the countries to come together. Then they created the United Nations. And that's been the one that's been there ever since. The problem with the United Nations, the world doesn't look at the UN as the world authority. President Trump has said it multiple times that the United States of America will always be a sovereign nation, meaning that the United Nations does not control us. And because the United States has always been and always will be a sovereign nation, this is part of the reason why we have this conflict, because they want to have this one world order. You know, the same one world order that they constantly used to say was a conspiracy. You remember that? And I remember before I did a video, and this was some years ago, about them wanting to create a one world order. And how even on the liberal media news, they were saying that we should have a one world order because they want this world domination. They want, the whole climate change and all of the other things that's involved in it. They want to create this liberal utopia on the planet and get everyone to comply with it. And they have it in their minds that they can do it through the United Nations. The United Nations will give them the means of creating this liberal world order on the planet. And see, a lot of people still don't even know this. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine Really? Putin already said if you try to become part of NATO, we will have conflict. Well, of course, Biden's in office. Kamala Harris is making trips over to Ukraine. We see all of this conflict come about. And Zelensky, he was walking with the papers, holding the papers in hand and say, I got the papers filled out to become part of NATO. See, NATO is a fraction of a one world order. And then you have Russia, China, Iran. That is another fraction of a different type of one world order. And what a lot of people have not put together is that these conflicts that we're seeing is not really about the different nations. It's about who is going to control this one world order. That's what a lot of people are not putting together. I mean, it's clear as day, for me at least. But some people are like, okay, you might be on something, but a lot of people don't even want to recognize it. But we're at a stage right now where it could possibly happen. And President Trump, he's fighting against this whole global agenda. He really is. President Trump, when he was at the United Nations, this was his first time, he said at the United Nations that the United States of America will never be a socialist country. We will always be a sovereign nation. President Trump was saying this at the United Nations. And this was the same day that Nancy Pelosi went behind the podium and said that, okay, we've had enough of him. We're going to impeach him now. We're doing articles of impeachment. See, a lot of people thinking it had something to do with Ukraine, had nothing to do with it. It had everything to do with President Trump staying out of this one world order. President Trump removed us from the TPP. President Trump removed us from the Paris Climate Agreement. He removed us from all of these one world organizations. And people were seeing it and they were like, oh my goodness, look at him. He is not for this global agenda. But see, the Antichrist will be. The Antichrist is for this global agenda. And so the Antichrist spirit that is alive and well on the planet, and I personally believe that the Antichrist is here. I don't know who it is. I have my suspicions, but I don't know who it is. But I truly believe that the Antichrist is on the planet. At least the spirit of the Antichrist is here. And we can see it big as day. We can see it big as day. Because you can see what they're doing with all this evil, wicked stuff that they're pushing on the planet. I mean, it's like man is going backwards in the way of thinking instead of going forward. And even right now, President Trump, he learned from the first time when he was in office to right now, President Trump knows the lay of the land and he knows what they're trying to do. So I know a lot of people are upset with President Trump that call themselves Trump supporters, and that's fine. I mean, we're not supposed to disagree with, or we're not supposed to agree with everything that someone does or someone says. Like right now, it is perfectly fine for you to disagree with me on a lot of things. It's okay. We should be able to disagree with one another and it's not be upset and dislike each other just because we disagree about something. There's been people that have been like, I can't talk to you anymore, Will Johnson, because you disagreed with me about something. I'm like, really? I mean, that's what liberals do. That's what liberals straight up do. Let me give really quick, and I want to share some information with you here. There is one particular person, or it's like this. I'm not going to go on a particular person. Liberals. I've had conversations with liberals for years, and they don't even know who I am. I don't say anything political to them. I don't share my beliefs with them. Nothing. Except for they kind of know that I'm a Christian. But see, they have this whole thing where they're trying to change what a Christian is. They really are. They have this whole thing where they're trying to change what a Christian is. And they think that me being black, that I would side with their liberalism, even when it comes to me being a Christian. So I've had conversation with these liberals for many, many years. And then all of a sudden, when they find out that I'm a Trump supporter, now they're angry with me. Now, these are liberals that I've gotten. Now, look, I've known that they've been liberals ever since I've met them. Ever since I met them. I've never said anything bad to them. I never looked down on them. Right? You hear what I'm saying? But as soon as these stinking liberals figure out who I am, how I think, what I believe in, who I support, they get angry, rah, angry with me. To the point to where in their minds that I'm not even human. These are liberals. And some people go, Will Johnson, why are you constantly calling them racist white liberals? They were perfectly fine with me when they thought that I might have been like them. See, I knew they were not like me, but I was still giving them respect. But liberals don't do that. See, liberals, they will find out after all of the years, you can work with a liberal for 15 years. And then when the liberal finds out that you voted for Trump, do you know that liberal, after 15 years, going to birthday parties, going to kids' parties, work parties, getting along, going to lunch, doing all these things together, as soon as they find out that you voted for President Trump, do you know that these liberals will go out of their way to try to get you fired? Because that's how they think. And you know them for 15 years. You know how they've been. Why? Because liberals, they're all out in the open expressing their hatred. Because they believe their hatred is love. So they think it's okay. They've been turned over to a reprobate mind to believe the wicked things that they're doing are okay. This is the world we live in right now. We live in a world where wickedness is pushed onto the planet, pushed onto our children, pushed onto our society, and these people are saying it's love. They're actually saying it. And I mentioned this before. When I read this scripture in the Bible where it talked about that God would turn them over to a reprobate mind, to where the wicked things that they're doing, they will believe that it is good. I mean, just straight up evil, wicked, demonic, disgusting, perverted things. And they will actually have it in their mind that it is good. Now, I was reading this in the Bible because I had never experienced anything like that to someone, actually doing that. And I'm not saying it wasn't here, but I had never personally experienced anything like that. But now everybody sees it. It's all in our faces. They push this evil. It's just like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's just like the days of Noah. The wickedness is running rampant. I mean, it is like almost unbearable. And I never thought that I would see it. I'm like, man, this must be like far off years and years and years from now before something like this in the Bible actually happens. And again, like I was saying, I'm pretty sure it was happening when I was a lot younger. I just didn't see it. Right? I didn't see it. But now, even when you're not trying to, even if you're not looking for it, it's right there in front of your face, and people are questioning it. And it's really getting to the point to where a lot of people are going, is this the new norm for our world? A lot of people are getting that way right now. Let me share this with you, because this is something, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this. So there's, in Iran, according to the reports, right? And I haven't seen any community notes saying that it's not true. This lady was doing reporting in Iran when Israeli decided to attack the location. And a lot of times, if it was, let's just say if it was the other way around, like this was a Jewish person in Israel, in Jerusalem, doing reporting, and they said that Iran or another country was attacking them, there would probably be community notes on there saying, oh, this is old. This was back in 2019. This is nothing new. But when it's the other way around, they make sure it goes far and wide, because they want to make it look like Israel, they are the aggressors.
که شنیدید صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلوده استودیو.
So I have no idea what she was saying. So there's no way I can translate what she was saying, but she had a split screen of it looked like rockets. I don't know if they were showing rockets going into Iran or if these were rockets that they were shooting into Israel. I don't know. My point in showing this is, again, to bring up the point that on X is where I saw this video. And there's no community notes on there saying that what was actually being said, what was actually happening. We know there was some kind of, destruction happening, I don't know what did it. If you go out to Google right now, because I went out to Google before we came on. If you go out to Google right now and you look and you do a word search on Israel being attacked by Iran, or if you do Iran attacking Israel, or if you put it in any kind of way in Google that Iran is doing the attacking, every single thing that popped up for me, and I encourage everyone to go out there and look it up. Maybe it was just for me, but every single thing that I could see showing that Israel is the one that is the aggressor. Through all of it. And then it goes in for, back in the Gaza Strip. It talks about all of that. It doesn't talk about Iran trying to create nukes to take out Israel. None of that information seems to be available. None of it. And what I was looking for, I was just looking for information based on that Israel is getting hit like they've never been hit before. That's what I was looking for. Right? Because Israel has the Iron Dome, and because Israel has the Iron Dome, it's really, really something to see when they get through the Iron Dome and they start destroying buildings and destroying civilians in Israel. Now, and there's a big difference too. Let me put this out there before I share this next one. That when Israel is taking out locations, they're taking out military locations. They're not going into civilian population. Right? They're not purposely going to civilian population. They never have. Never. Not even with the Gaza Strip. Hamas is shooting from a civilian location, so they have to take out that location. Well, that location no longer becomes a civilian location. It becomes an operation for Hamas. I don't know why people have such a hard time understanding that, but yet they do. But when it comes to all these other nations, they shoot into civilian populations. They just want to destroy every single person that's in Israel. Why? Because they're occupying the location. Well, look at this. This is a scenery from within Israel. From within Israel. Now, again, no one should be supporting this conflict. No one should be supporting it. And to my understanding, Israel, they don't even want this conflict. But when your arm is twisted, sometimes you don't have a choice. So this was something that got through, and of course I can't understand the language. I'm not gonna even try to translate it for you here, other than some of the pillars of smoke coming up here. This was hit in Israel, and this was purposely, right? And this doesn't even look like a military facility that I can tell.
Yeah, it's Haifa, Israel, I believe is what it said.
Yeah, so this is just, not even a military location. They don't care. They just want to hit everywhere in Israel. Well, President Trump, of course, he's on Air Force One, and he was at the G7. He was at the G7, which was in Canada. Where's Trudeau? You don't hear nothing from Trudeau any longer. I'm not even Canadian. I'm a Canadian. Canada is a neighbor. But I'm so happy we don't even have to hear from Trudeau any longer. I can only imagine how they feel. But they still got liberals running their country. But nonetheless, President Trump was at the G7, and then he left early. So the report has been that President Trump left Canada early and told his generals, to meet him in the Situation Room. How many hours? This was yesterday, correct, Shannon?
This was actually last night.
This was last night.
Yeah.
This was last night. He says, I'm on my way back. I need for y'all to meet. And then even in was it Tehran, they told how many millions of people? 10 million people.
Trump did. Trump said, I'm on my way back. I'm leaving the G7 early. I'm ready to meet in the Situation Room. He said, I recommend that the people of Tehran leave. That's what he said.
Told him to leave Tehran.
All in the same truth. Yeah.
To leave Tehran. Isn't it interesting how they got the memo? Because there's actually videos, and I meant to get that video. There's actually a video of, you can see all the vehicles. Oh, I did get it. Can you? Yeah, I'm gonna put it up here. Hold 1 second. I didn't get a chance to make it big or anything, but look at this. These are after President Trump said it. These are the people that are trying to get out. This is what's being reported, that these are the people trying to get out because President Trump told them to get out. Isn't it interesting that President Trump gave them warning? Why? Because they're not out to try to harm civilians.
I mean, Israel does the same thing.
Israel does the same thing.
If they're going to hit in a certain area, they forewarn the civilians. This is where we're hitting.
They tell people, hey, leave out, because Hamas has occupied that location and they're constantly shooting rockets, which they turn that civilian location into a military location at that point. Well, here's President Trump after he got on his Air Force One, and actually, this is only a really short clip. You can leave it split screen, Shannon. This is a very short clip. The whole thing is, I think, it was like 9 to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, where President Trump did a gaggle just taking on questions. But President Trump, he wants more than just a ceasefire. He wants them to stop. He wants them to stop altogether trying to build a nuclear bomb.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end, a real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent.
Yeah, or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Is that possible in the next 24
Why not?
hours?
Certainly possible. Complete give up.
That's what he wants. He wants them to just completely give up, stop trying to destroy Israel, put an end to it. Let's move forward. Let's have peace. This is what he really wants. This is what he's calling for.
And Will, if I can interrupt you real quick, this is the latest Truth Social that Trump has just put out there. And it says, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill him, at least not for now, he says. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians, just like we're talking about right here, Will, or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention in this matter.
So President Trump put this out there.
You know what I want to say?
What do you want to say?
I want to say that I'm really thankful for President Trump because he is a great communicator with the American people, even with the media. You see, he is always talking to them almost any chance he gets, whether he's, having meetings with dignitaries, whether he's on Air Force One, just flying in the air. He's like, let's go talk to the media, right? He communicates through Truth Social. I mean, this administration, to me, has been so very transparent. You even saw Pete Hegseth out there yesterday talking about what was happening. I totally appreciate
Marco Rubio
that.
Just the other day put a statement out there and saying, look, this is not a conflict the United States of America is looking, is getting involved in. He even made that statement that, look, they are allies. We're going to support them, but we're not going to get into conflict. And President Trump has made it clear that our objective is not to get into conflict. Go ahead. Did you want to finish, Shannon?
Well, I just wonder if Iran's objective is to get us in a conflict. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of people saying that in order for, this to really escalate to World War III, you would have to get China involved. You would have to get Russia involved.
Wasn't there some planes that left China that went off the radar?
So
With the 2
yesterday,
cargo planes.
right, yesterday, Epic Times was reporting that there was some cargo planes that were headed. They now believe that they possibly went to Iran because they turned off their tracking information. So people are like, well, where did those planes go? It was on Epic Times. I saw it kind of on social media, but I kind of ignored it until I actually saw it in the Epic Times, which is a pretty reputable news outlet. So I thought, okay, there's some truth to that. But, I don't think they want to get in war either. So I'm just really curious, Will, what is the breaking point to really drag us into war? I mean, because it seems like this has been going on since the 70s, right? I think they said 1979 this has been happening.
Oh, it's been happening long.
Oh, even before that, of course, we helped with the regime change in the 50s or whatever.
No.
I mean, so
1948,
right. So we've had an involvement, but what I'm saying is this particular little conflict shooting back and forth, it seems like it's escalating quite quickly. And
that's a really good point. It's escalating quickly when we have President Trump in office. One would think that they would have done this when Joe Biden was there. But see, I think part of the reason why, and this is why, and this to a lot of people are saying the reason why this didn't happen when Joe Biden was there, because Joe Biden was not an ally to Israel like President Trump is. They knew that if they would have gone in this conflict with Iran, and Israel knew this too, if they would have gone to a conflict with Iran, because Iran has been trying to destroy them forever, that the United States of America would not have their backs. Joe Biden lied about it. And you have this group Code Pink up there, and they said they were upset with Joe Biden, and they're too stupid to realize that Joe Biden was not an ally to Israel. They don't get it. They basically just want Joe Biden to come out and say that they're going to pull all funding, get away from Israel. The only reason why the Democrats want people to think that they're supporting Israel, the Jewish community at all, because the Jewish community pours money into the Democrat Party. That's the only reason why they act like it. This is the only reason. Well, listen to Ted Cruz. He has a little insight or a little information talking about this conflict that was happening in Israel.
Well, listen, I agree that tonight is tremendously consequential. I think in many ways tonight was inevitable. It was on April 12th that President Trump said to the Ayatollah, you have 60 days to negotiate. Those 60 days expired tonight. If you look at the red line that President Trump drew in the sand, the red line was that Iran must completely dismantle their nuclear centrifuges, dismantle them all, and end enrichment. This morning, Iran publicly stated they would not dismantle their centrifuges and they were going to build more, they were going to enrich more, and they were moving towards nuclear weapons. That in effect, was a giant middle finger to President Trump.
100% giant middle finger to President Trump. So should President Trump, should he follow in the same footsteps as Obama? A red line was crossed and Obama just tucked his tail between his legs and whimpered away. Should he do the same thing as the rest of them? You cross this red line. The last person I heard him talking about don't cross a red line was Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries says if you arrest one, or if you bring charges up against one Democrat politician, you would have crossed the red line. But he's an idiot because they crossed the red line when they took the beautiful Mona Lisa mugshot of President Trump. How was that not crossing a red line? They crossed the red line already. So they can say it all day, but every time that red line is crossed where they say they're going to put their foot down, the red line is just nothing happens. Nothing happens. President Trump, he's not one to play with. See, if President Trump doesn't keep his word, then they're going to see him as a weak leader. You understand? President Trump is not a weak leader. So everybody out there that's kicking and screaming about President Trump keeping his word, shame on you.
You know what, Will?
Shame on you for being upset with President Trump for keeping his word. This is what I voted for. I voted for a leader to say what he says, mean what he says, and to do what he says.
Well, you remember when that drone
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, it was about $200 million drone.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And there was people like, what's his name? The started with a P. Come on now.
Start with a P.
That wanted him to go to war over it. They said, "Oh,
Sean Hannity."
No.
Yeah, Sean Hannity wanted him to.
Well, there were several people wanting him to go to war over it, right? And Trump's like, "No, we're not going to." Nobody was, really hurt. Nobody was hurt.
That was doing it. Yeah, that was maybe. Are you thinking about John Podesta?
No.
No.
Podesta didn't work for Trump.
Pompeo.
Thank you very much.
Pompeo.
Pompeo.
Yeah, because Pompeo was
too.
under President Trump's administration.
Yeah,
there was a lot of them when that happened. Go to war. We got to go to war. We got to take him out. We got to take out this facility, that facility, this facility. They were like all excited. Sean Hannity, I'm like, man, Sean Hannity was like almost hyperventilating on Fox News when the drone was shot down. And President Trump came out really, just elaborate what you're saying, Shannon. He came out really calm and says, "Was anyone hurt? Was there anyone in the drone?" He says, "No." "Did anyone die when the drone hit the ground?" "No, sir."
But retaliation would have killed, I think he said, like 150, 200
and President
people.
Trump said, "Okay, look, since nobody was no U.S. citizens were in the drone, no one died on the ground." He says, "I'm gonna give you this one." He told Iran at the time, "I give you this one. You get this one, but you don't do it again. You do it again, and then you're going to be in a world of hurt." And guess what? They didn't do it after that.
To me, that's a great example of restraint. Trump doesn't want to go in war unless it's absolutely necessary. So I trust, because of how cool-headed he was then, he knows that he doesn't want to go to war. He knows what would, escalate to a place he doesn't want to go. Trump's very good about that calculation. I think if we could trust him then, we can trust him now.
I agree. And the whole thing is that a lot of people are saying that there's no actual nuclear facilities. Now, here's a report that was on Fox News where they're actually talking about a 25 acre facility that they were using to create nuclear weapons. And they just all discovered this. But again, look, and I understand a whole bunch of people go down the rabbit hole. Fox News is reporting it. Not to say that Fox News is getting fraudulent information. Not to say that they're not. But President Trump has the intel. And President Trump, with the satellite imagery, just like you mentioned, Shannon, they know where Ayatollah. They know where he is. They know. President Trump is going to know if this information is factual or not.
There's exclusive satellite images revealing the location of a previously unknown Iranian nuclear site. Now, the facility spans nearly 2,500 acres, and this is a big discovery. Jillian Turner has more from the State Department. Good morning, Jillian.
Pretty explosive, Dana. These satellite images that we have obtained exclusively show the alleged site location and even the layout of the secret, previously unknown nuclear weapons facilities inside Iran. This, of course, raises fresh concerns about the regime's role in these ongoing nuclear talks with the Trump administration. The National Council of Resistance of Iran has collected intelligence from sources on the ground inside Iran that locate this nuclear weapons facility in what is called Semnan province, far from the regime's already known nuclear sites. It's codenamed the Rainbow Site by Iran's officials, and it spans nearly 2,500 acres. It's been operating as far as we can discern.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
2,500 acres.
2,500 acres.
You know what? Well, I want to say, yesterday, Massey, with this new stuff coming out about what's happening in Iran, Congressman Massey and some other people are saying that they're going to put some legislation out today to make sure that Trump cannot go into war without their permission, which we know is true. He can't.
Isn't that already in play?
Yeah, that's true.
You're talking about Tom Massey?
Yeah, I'm talking about Tom Massey.
Tom Massey. I mean, that's already there.
Right.
That's already there. You cannot go into an act of war unless Congress agrees to it.
Right. And so I think today I'm speculating.
So what new measure is he going to put in place that's not there? Really?
Yeah, I know. It's just like let me remind President Trump. Right. I know. He doesn't really
and
care
President
for
Trump, he's the main one trying to stay out of war.
He is trying to stay out of war. And I think today, I could be wrong, but I think within the next couple of days, we're going to start hearing some of these Congress people and even Senate take to the floor and talk about where they stand on this maybe possible war. So we'll just watch that for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. And one person said, Sherry said, she says, I agree. Trump will call the best shot. Yeah. I mean, President Trump, he's made extremely wise decisions.
And he wants as less people to get hurt as possible.
Yes, he's made some extremely wise decisions.
He doesn't want that on his mind.
But you know what? Yeah, he doesn't want on his mind. But at the same time, I expect President Trump to keep his word. If you have a tyrannical government that's wanting to destroy civilization, and he's already told them, I expect him to keep his word. I really do. I don't expect him to do like Obama. I don't expect him to do like Clinton. I don't expect him to do like George Bush. I don't expect him to do like Biden. I expect him to be the president that we elected to keep his word and to be a strong leader. This is the only reason why the country is respected now around the world, because of President Trump. UniteAmericaFirst.com, everyone. UniteAmericaFirst.com is my website. Please go to my website, UniteAmericaFirst.com. Sign up for the free newsletter. I told y'all I'm going to really work on getting just one newsletter going out a week to just inform you about information. Maybe I'll just do that and put the videos in there saying that these are the videos that you missed throughout the week. So then that way you know that if you sign up for the free newsletter, I know because everyone have busy lives, things are just happening everywhere. We'll put that information in just a newsletter. It's a free newsletter. Sign up for it. Please sign up for the free newsletter. And that way you'll know what I'm doing and where I'm at if you care to know. Also, while you're at UniteAmericaFirst.com, please select one of those for me. Support me. UniteAmericaFirst.com/donate. Monthly subscribers. People have done it. People are doing it. I need your support to continue. Or if you just like the information, you like Will Johnson, you just want to help me out one time, say, I got you one time right there. The different options, which you're all accustomed to. Or if you want to send me something in the mail, a letter, and I've kept every single letter from the very first one, from the very first letter. If you want to send me a blessing in the mail, there's my physical address, UniteAmericaFirst.com/donate. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. Look, prayers for our country, prayers for all of those in harm's way. God bless. See you tomorrow.